Hi everyone, welcome back for another whiskey review. Well, tonight I am on a marathon effort which is nearly coming to the end. I've got 3 more drams left in my Advent calendar, which was graciously gifted to me all the way back in 2018, 2019, and it's been patiently waiting for me to, well, get stuck into it. Now, this particular Advent calendar has been a wonderful mix tonight. I've been sitting here, I've made the commitment of sampling 12 different whiskies and recording these reviews, and I've come to this particular one, which is the Glenfiddich 15. But it's given me an opportunity tonight to try whiskies from different countries, Australian, Irish, American, and Scotch, obviously. And I've circled back to what I would say is center, especially Glenfiddich, which is not one of the earliest, but the earliest single malt Scotch whiskey that I fell in love with. And I recall, taking a little sip out of one of my father's glass he offered me many moons ago of a Glenfiddich 12, and I thought that is very interesting. I had tried some very entry-level basic whiskies prior to it, and obviously in my university days, I was dabbling into bourbon and coke. We were drinking beer, drinking Bacardi and lemonade, and I remember drinking Glenfiddich 12, and I thought, this is very nice. This is a very balanced beverage. And then many years later, after that, at some point, for first time, I tried the Glenfiddich 15. I thought, this is different. Still very nice, very balanced as a beverage. I'm just relatively young, probably around 19, 21, 22 years old, having drunk more of the cold and carbonated drinks, and having tried sort of your blended whiskies, and then having dabbled into Glenfiddich 12. And the landing of the Glenfiddich 15 was just like magic. At the time, I couldn't figure out for myself, why is it different? Why is it different from blended whiskies I've tried to this date, or even the Glenfiddich 12, which was very light, fruity, had freshness of apples, it had freshness of pears, all that kind of really good stuff. But the 15 was warming and richer on the palate somehow. And luckily, I've been to Glenfiddich in 2018 on my only trip to Scotland, had the great pleasure of doing a 4-hour tour of the Glenfiddich distillery, which was called the Pioneer Tour, which I was the only one on the tour. I don't want to say how much I paid for it. It was a bit of money, but I was escorted around the whole facility, taken through the whole process by this very lovely Scottish man, who gave me a full deep dive into all things Glenfiddich. And I was also invited to visit the number 1 warehouse where they use the Solera cask, which I'll start to explain in a moment. But it was just magic going to Glenfiddich. It is a single malt that is probably the first single malt people fall in love with all around the world, just not in New Zealand, not just in Australia or just all around the world. It is one of those, I guess, distilleries that is always present. You go to a nice restaurant, you'll always see a Glenfiddich 12 at the minimum, but hopefully the whole core range of the 12, 15, and 18. And the 15 just has that warming effect, for a lot of the people that drink the Glenlivet 12, the Glenfiddich 12, or they drink Macallan 12, the fine oak. But the jump in flavor, because of the sherry cask aging, is just delightful. So in this case, and I did make some notes, they have used ex-bourbon barrels and Portuguese sherry and brand new oak. So composition of 3 different cask types side by side, but they marry them into a huge Solera cask. Again, I was so blessed to visit the number 1 warehouse and seeing for myself up front how big these casks are. They are massive. I don't have a photo right now, but you can probably look it up on the internet. These casks are massive, these Solera tanks. I think I wrote in my notes 10,000 liters or something silly like that. It was really big, made from Oregon pine. And the purpose they serve is Glenfiddich obviously ages these three different cask types for minimum 15 years, obviously, for it to be a 15-year-old single malt. But they continually keep topping up this massive Solera, and they never at any point let it drop below half the level. That's the commitment. That's the process they're following. So in this case, this whiskey has come from a huge vatching, or whatever you want to call it. Well, they call it Solera system, obviously. But it's got some very old whiskey in it as well. Old as in, obviously, 15-year-olds and a bit older, but also tiny, tiny drops of whiskey from probably 10, 15, 20 years ago, which is just amazing, something magical. And they're using three different cask types, again, to keep it interesting and trying to find different flavors and marry it together for our enjoyment, and bottled at 40% ABV. One night, I'll add in here, and I haven't really publicly spoken about it, is when I went to the distillery, and I've spoken about the lovely tour I got, I went to the distillery shop, that's where the tour ends, and they had a single cask of Glenfiddich 15 at cask strength available while sitting in the distillery shop, and you could bottle your own bottle to take home, which I thought was just magical, pure magic. And I had never tried a cask strength whiskey at that point. And I purchased a 700ml bottle, which I filled with my own hands. And I think I have a video somewhere. I must share it one day. But I filled this bottle, and I thought of my younger brother, Gary, who loves Glenfiddich and, was mad about the 15-year-old at the time. And I gifted him this bottle in the hope that he will give me a sample. Never got a sample out of him. He drank the whole bottle, which is good, purpose well served. But I still remain just a little bit unsatisfied not having tried a cask strength 15-year-old Glenfiddich. But I did get to try some of the other cask strength ones. In fact, I filled my own little 200ml bottle as part of the tour of an 18-year-old, which I brought back. And I think I've reviewed it from the channel, which was really, really good. But I still still am a bit unsatisfied. Hopefully one day I'll circle back and I'll fill my own cask strength 15-year-old. I'll get to sample and I'll do a review for the channel. Sorry, I digress too much, but I am actually quite excited. Been sitting here tonight trying a lot of youthful whiskies from all around the world, and now I've kind of just feel like I've kind of been just building up for a heavyweight fight, and I'm sort of coming towards the end. And whiskey number 12 I'm going to review tonight is another favorite of mine, which we'll leave alone for now. But I've been building up, trying youngish, interesting whiskies. I've built up to something that I truly enjoy. Right, let's see what's it like on the nose. Another quick note, I have actually reviewed the 12, 15, and 18 already. They should be on the channel somewhere. And if I remember correctly, they also were recorded when I was in Hawaii one time, many, many years ago. I think in 2018 or 2019. But be interesting, and I'll go back and listen to and hear, what I said in the past, to see if I've changed my mind, if I say something different. All right, sorry, a whole bunch of words been said, but I think they need to be said. I mean, I am genuinely quite excited. I've spent a lot of time, I've invested a lot of time into talking about whiskies tonight, and I've finally come to something I really cherish. All right, on the nose. Sweet richness, raisiny sweetness. Wow. Just a tiny hint of spice. Just really, really warm on the nose. Lovely, lovely raisiny sweetness intertwining with the spice. Just really rich dram. Wow, I could just nose it for a very, very long time. All right, let's see what's it like on the palate. Oh, this has brought back some very happy memories. I mean, I've drunk and shared many a bottles of Glenfiddich 15 over the years, but this is very nice. And as I'm sitting here describing this whiskey, I'm kind of also realizing how selfish of a drinker I've become in terms of my continual pursuit of cask strength and also single cask whiskey. Well, those are my two sort of pursuits at the moment. I kind of don't go back to my favorites as often as I should. You know, the Glenfiddich 15 is one of my favorite whiskey. The raisiny sweetness is there on the palate, intertwining with the gentle spice, with the tiniest sort of presence of smoky note. Not peaty, just sort of, yeah, it's there. It's not a peaty whiskey at all, but the gentle smoke is there. And another fun note from my visit to the distillery, I actually got to visit the bottling plant as well. And on that day, they were actually bottling the Glenfiddich 15, which was just magical, seeing pallets upon pallets of one of my favorite whiskey. Yeah, it was like a cat in a candy shop. Really, really nice. I did look up before. It retails in New Zealand. It has jumped up big time in retail. It sits at around $140, I think $135, which is a lot of money. But I think it's worth trying. It's definitely worth trying. You know, people are throwing a lot of good money around $140, $150 at the moment on these new Scotch whiskey distilleries, which is good. We should do that. We should be buying new whiskies and supporting these new distilleries. But for the same money, you're getting something truly remarkable. You know, it does bring a lot of joy, and it is bringing me a lot of joy tonight, having tried these youthful whiskies from all around the world, and it's just brought it home. Just magic. Really, really nice. And as I'm saying a whole bunch of these words, it's also making me think of some of the occasions where I've shared a bottle of Glenfiddich 15 with some of the friends and family, especially my dad. Really, really good. If you have been drinking it over the years, congratulations. Welcome to the club, you know, or enjoy your continued membership of this club, of Glenfiddich 15 Appreciation Club. But if you haven't, join the club, you know. And like the Balvenie 12 review I did just before, if that price point is a step too high for you, go to a restaurant or a whiskey bar and just try a dram just to see if you do like it. And I'm sure you will. And that will hopefully nudge you towards acquiring a bottle of your own. But just really, really nice. Very, 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 very nice whiskey. And I think I'm just kind of just putting a mental note there. Bring a bottle home. I think I need to bring a bottle home and add it to the mix and I guess reminisce a bit more over it. But that's all I've got to say about this particular whiskey. If you're liking the content, please like, share, subscribe. Otherwise, I'll see you in the very near future for another whiskey review. See you later. Bye-bye.